Good. Calling a meeting to order.
Sorry,
For the Ad-Hoc task force on per diems. And first thing, for that, we're going to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Public input. Anybody up there? You guys, anybody have any input?
Do you want to vote? Do we need to vote on the agenda, or I mean on the motion?
Thank you. Yes. Yes. We have a first on that.
I moved it.
Okay. We're good. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Public input on agenda items. Anything? Okay. Out there.
I'm the only one.
Consideration of minutes for approval for April 17th.
Move to approve. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any questions or anything like that? Good. Communication shared by committee members. Open it up, you guys.
I kind of wanted to talk about what was the second part, but not the actual, the next part, but I'd like to move those because I want to discuss about what happens after 6.
Yeah, six. I have that here. I'm going to pass it on. Drafts for consideration.
Oh, no, so never mind. I'll just wait until we finish. I'll slide it in with number 6 just to make it easier.
Okay. Discussions and vote. Self-organized county board proposal. It was sent to everybody, and I think everyone has a copy.
I would like to move to approve it.
I'll second. Okay. Discussion. Yes, Kobe.
I think the only, just a minor thing, I think I'd like to add amend to add a whereas clause that just lays out what the three things that this does, or what 3 pieces of administrative affairs or governance are sort of at stake, just so that you read through this, you see what the implications of a self-organized county is, and you don't have to read this and then go find this document or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. So you were talking about adding a whereas?
Yeah. Would you like me to come up with language, or I guess maybe a question for the corporation council?
Yeah, corporate council drafted this, so
because I'm not particularly sure of what our process needs to be with this, with passing this today, or with having the exact language today.
Okay. Yes.
You have a whereas
Right.
in the state section, but they want something.
They want, okay. So, no, I haven't.
Yes. Yes.
So I want it to be clear to the committee that if you decided to go forward with this, it does not mean automatically that the 3 issues that can result from becoming self-organized are a fait accompli. It means that you have to specifically submit yet other legislation, ideally individual pieces, so nothing gets blurred, as to whether you want staggered terms, as to whether you want the committee to vote for vacancies, if you want the committee to deal, or the board to deal with ad hoc, or I'm sorry, per diems. So we can certainly add a line after 13 with another whereas clause, as Supervisor Skellinger is suggesting, talking about the authority that is flowing from becoming self-organized. Yeah. Just for clarification. But again, I want the board to know, just because you pass this doesn't mean those other 3 items are automatically.
Okay, we still have to bring those up, yes.
No question.
And I do, I would even be in favor of putting that in as well, just a, clear notation that this is just the authority to, but not the act of,
Yes, that's a good point.
changing.
We don't want to confuse them, when they pass this, that is included, it's not included.
That's
Every
right.
one of them three things will come back as a separate resolution.
Yeah,
So you could put, whereas a decision to become self-organized allows the board to use staggered terms for supervisors, address compensation of supervisors, and fill vacancies in the office of the county supervisor, something to that effect. And whereas, approving this ordinance does not automatically mean that those three other issues are immediately passed. Something to that effect, if that's what the board would like.
And should we have something like, whereas with a separate resolution, the board would have the authority. Because
Yes.
I want them to know that when they pass this, they pass nothing other than changing the structure of the government.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Because we don't want them thinking that we're changing all three things. We want them to know that it takes a separate resolution to change the per diem, to change the
Mhm.
structure of the
Mhm.
terms, so they don't get confused when they pass this, that this is all done with one resolution.
So if we put, whereas a county which has elected to become self-organized may adopt its own policies regarding, let's dumb it down, A, use of staggered terms for supervisors, comma, electing half of them each year rather than electing all each even numbered year, semicolon. B, compensation of supervisors for attendance at board meetings and paying mileage. Actually, not, maybe we should say at meetings, not just at board meetings, because it could include committee.
Yeah.
So at meetings, or if you want to say
Convention.
board, committee, commission
Yeah,
meetings.
and it could also mean the WCA things.
Mhm. So take out board, so, sorry, compensation of supervisors for attendance. Do you want to say at any and all meetings? Or just say for meetings involving the board, committees, commissions, task force, and Wisconsin counties, and so, well, we don't want to just
We
say
have
board.
Winnebago also, so you can do that.
Board, committees, commissions, task forces.
We're
What else?
related, can you just say board
Board
related
related, because we're going to address that.
events? Can you say
Okay.
board
The
related
individuals.
events
Yeah, so that's under.
that are approved by
Is
the,
that okay, Kobe?
sure.
Why don't you read that back?
Then you're part of copy
Which,
too.
all of it, or just a county which is
Well, actually, yeah, we'll just do the B, and then
Just B.
at the end, we'll go back through it all, but start with B.
compensation of supervisors for attendance at board-related meetings and paying mileage?
So you're thinking board related includes committees, commissions, task forces?
that's what I would assume, and conventions. Approved, well, I don't wanna go into that much good detail. If they wanna go more detail, they can.
I think that'll come up. I don't, what do you?
Yeah, I mean, I think. So I think that. The question of what counts as being a per diem is not. Part of what. 59.10(1) of the statute says. Right, like. They're just that the authority, the power that we are maneuvering here is. Are you limited to pay a per diem, or are you able to pay a salary? If I'm understanding this
Yes.
correct,
Mhm.
somebody
Yes.
stop me.
Mhm.
And so should we, whether or not we do a self-organized, elect to be self-organized. The county can still do per diems. And the rules for that would not be this would not be this ordinance change, but would be a resolution to change our board rules.
It would be statutory.
Oh, okay, ordinance to change our general code, or our, yeah, so,
Well, no, you were right. It would be a
Oh,
resolution.
okay.
But you would follow the law as to what is allowed.
So I think that it's sufficient in this, in this draft to do board-related meetings. And if our recommendation is to stay with per diems, or the board's choice is to stay with per diems, I'm assuming that part of our recommendation may include a process by which the board chair decides what counts, or knows what counts, and isn't sort of just whatever people put down.
Okay, yeah, yes,
Use the word allow is, instead of coming up with all these different. This one and this one and this, allowable meetings. County approved, county allowable, no,
Well, right now.
she's smiling, so I'll just.
I know, and I know why she's smiling, because you hit like the perfect
yeah.
spot.
That's
is-
exactly right.
is,
What is allowable?
You're happy with me?
well, allowable is right now, if somebody could be on this meeting on Zoom.
Yeah.
That's on the board and get paid for it,
Yeah.
even though they're not given anything. So that's why you're smiling, right? Because you're thinking allowable, because
Yeah.
right now, all that is allowable. Until that is fixed.
Yeah.
If everybody chooses to fix it. Exactly. Is that what you were thinking?
I was thinking that instead of, this kind of meeting, that kind of commission, that kind of, just allowable.
See, there's subjectivity there. That's the problem.
Until clarified
We're not ready
what's
to do
allowable,
that.
and we're not ready to do that,
Yeah,
so
we need to
this is still
break it down.
self-organized.
Maybe
And I
more-
think that some things, like Steve will talk about meetings that he attends that he chooses not to charge for. And maybe it's allowable, but he chooses not to. I go to the 4th of July, sheriff reading the pledge, and I'm handing out flags that the county has purchased, or that one, well, first it was Bill Windward buying them, and I was doing, and I,
At 8
Work-
o'clock in the morning on July 4th,
Huh?
whatever it is.
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
8 o'clock in the morning, yeah.
On July 4th.
Yeah, and I write down that I've gone, but that I put no charge. I mean, I choose not to take money for that one. But Steve might say, oh, well, I attended that, I'm gonna, because it's allowable, he could. And you can make the choice, for me, I'm not gonna do that.
But then you also face the possibility that some people might take advantage. Or their,
At 8 o'clock in the
Their
morning on
idea-
4th of July,
Well, but we also don't need to like decide right
That's
now.
right.
what
No, because we're gonna
allowable is.
address
The
that
question is
later.
Just.
Yeah.
Is the county able to do per diems?
Yeah.
Or per diems and a salary?
Which would take care of that
Yes.
Yeah.
too.
But yeah, separate, I mean, I do agree, we need to address that at some point.
Well,
I'm just a little confused now. I mean, I know we're doing this, but then now we're doing it, now we're saying now we got reasons why, because it's not just limited to these three. Other things could come up, right?
no, it's these three
That's all,
items.
nothing else?
Just three.
Just these three areas,
Okay,
just these three areas. Yeah.
it just seems like, I don't know, we're doing it, but then we're gonna have reasons, which is gonna open a whole bunch of different doors at the meeting to say who wants to not do this, and we might think kaput because too much complication. I know you want to bring it out and tell them what it is, but I just way that sounds like the board is going that there would be too many ifs and this would be probably sent back or something would happen like that.
I had reached out to other counties who have become self-organized, and a lot of them did it during COVID and after COVID. And the court councils I spoke with, when they opted, their boards decided to go self-organized, did not include the areas that were touched on by being self-organized. And maybe that's the very reason they didn't do it. Now, clearly, if the board decides, you know what, we want staggered terms, you're gonna have to bring another piece of legislation.
oh, yeah,
Right.
yeah,
But you can't bring it if you don't become self-organized.
right, that's the point.
I kind of agree with you on that one.
so by staggered terms, we end up electing somebody every single year. Is that right?
Yeah, half in the even year, half in the odd year, versus right now, it's all in the even year.
I don't see that ever happening, but I don't
It
know.
may or may not.
That's, once again, that's not the purpose of why we're here for this, but can we put, does it have to go in the order that you were asked? saying?
No, I was just
Yeah,
actually
just
basing it on, you had provided as a
I
handbook.
was thinking cut the compensation one for if we went that route, but if we, I have to say, maybe we listen to how they've done it, because we're gonna be doing a presentation. Or we'll put it up there and they're gonna be asking questions. So it's not like it can't be answered. We're not hiding anything. I mean, we're in public, right? I mean, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, I just think still having it in our document creates a level of transparency
Yes.
for anybody, you know, in 50 years, somebody's gonna look back at the microfiche or whatever we're storing stuff on, and, you know, and see, and, you know, and be able to actually see, you know, sort of what that power change, you know, power shift was or whatever, or authority change. You know, Supervisor Harrison, I think you kind of said, you know, oh, it's just those three. And my question was maybe, does that make you feel more at ease or less at ease about it?
I don't know, I would think more things will come up, that's all I'm saying, is just that, maybe it's just bored of what they've gone through, but it just seems there've been so many picky things that come up that you get picked at, and now this, by doing this, I know we have these three areas, but that kind of just opens some more doors to do more little picking thing. And then, I don't know about you, but a year from now, might be a whole different group of people that'll be doing it, going hashing things over again. You know, I just get the feeling we should get to real business and do this stuff, but rather than have all these open the doors and really want to change that, you know, things are working. What do we can do to help our people, help our community? I mean, that's all I think. Now, once you do this, we did this, is a good idea. We can answer all the questions, but now we do that, plus we add why we're doing it, or what it seems to be the reason. Now that opens a whole bunch of more, what's this about? Or what's this about when it comes back? Because it's not there now, but they'll ask it.
Well, they can ask it now.
Yeah, and
If they have this, and during the discussion, I'm gonna say, well, it will allow you to these three items.
Okay.
But then you'd have to bring a separate piece of legislation for each.
Yeah.
So you're right, I mean.
Yeah. And it'll be later down the line, right? And as this year goes, it's farther and farther to election time. So these three things might not be addressed until
That's right.
after all this,
Possibly.
you know, so,
That's
yeah,
it.
so.
Oh, well, I mean,
I know.
you made a couple points that, you know, this is doing a lot, but I mean. This ad hoc committee was made to look at every single avenue, right?
Right.
So that's why we're here, and we literally cannot do. Pretty much anything unless we have the ability to look at both things here, right? We can't push forward and say, yeah, we want to do salary. Well, if this doesn't get passed in this yearly meeting, we're just looking at what we're doing right now and trying to adjust it the best we can. We have no other options, right? It's either go higher or go lower for per diem. That's pretty much all we have. And then maybe fix that one thing, you know, that you have to be a member of the committee in order to get paid. That's it. So I know it seems like, you know, we're just doing change, but I mean, that was not my intention. My intentions are pure with this, that I'm just trying to find different ways that we can compensate, that if you want to go to the 4th of July thing, that you're not worried about, oh my God, am I going to be over how many meetings I'm allowed to have? Like Steve has brought up a couple of times. It's just a blanket. You're getting paid this much amount of money, and, you know, come to as many things as you possibly can. And if you don't come, then election time, people will see that you don't come to things, and hopefully they will be more involved in government.
I'm in agreement that we should do something. All I was saying is that listing these three. But now, if we don't list these three, or we don't raise a resolution, this gets passed. And how long is it gonna take for us to bring those three things up?
Next couple months they'll be run over.
Well, I don't want to
Do
do
them all
the
at once?
other two things. All I'm focusing on is the.
Okay, so I'm not gonna do
I don't
it.
care about the other two things. That's for somebody else to do. That's somebody else's wheelhouse, somebody
Okay.
else's circus and monkeys.
Yeah.
I just want to deal with
that's-
the compensation.
And I believe the name of this committee was Ad Hoc Task Force for Compensation.
Per diem,
Or
whatever.
per
Yeah,
diem, or whatever. It wasn't for staggered terms and elections. It wasn't for that.
Right.
But
We don't care about the
in
other.
order to have flexibility regarding the compensation piece, you need to become
You
self-organized.
have to, and then we have to do the
That's
next
how-
step too.
Yeah.
There's actually 2 steps.
Yeah.
It's this, and we have to bring
Yes.
legislation back up if we want to,
Change them.
that part.
But then, again, if the board decides to become self-organized, the onus again is on the county clerk to forward this to the Secretary of State. So there are certain steps that have to
Yeah.
be followed.
The 3 steps that we defined there. can
We only
take-
did 2, because we stopped at the 3rd. Well,
Yeah,
we didn't get the actual
Yeah.
language, but yeah, go ahead.
the split terms, I'd like that to be the last. of the 3.
Okay. So should I,
Yeah, that's gonna put red flags out there a lot of
I
people.
mean, does it have to be in a certain
Compensation
order, or are we good?
so compensation should be the first item.
Yeah.
And then what about the,
What, do we have? to have
filling
the other 2 things?
vacancies?
Filling vacancies, but
We don't have to, you could say includes, as opposed to saying listing them, we could say,
Includes which is why the per diem task force is bringing, once again, our wheelhouse is not the other 2.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll be as a full board at some point, somebody wants to bring them up, but at this point.
Yeah.
Can we just do the compensation one then and keep it simple? Would you be okay with that?
My feeling is generally, again, like, to have that, it's not that big of a list, but to have that exhaustive list should clarify questions, so people don't think it's a backdoor to something else. That there aren't infinite powers that are being shifted or
Yeah.
things like that.
yeah, that's a good point.
That was where I was coming from. I mean, I think sometimes it is difficult to move forward with a procedural change that opens doors that we're not walking through, especially if people aren't really familiar with those doors. And I bet probably 0 of our 36 supervisors have ever thought about staggered terms before. And probably 0 have thought about,
But can we keep it simple then? Can we just do A, compensation, B,
Staggered terms?
appointee,
Yeah.
appointee, blah, 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 and then, C, staggered terms? Can we just keep it?
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm very happy to do very simple,
Yeah, let's
yes.
just do that.
compensation, filling vacancies
Yeah.
in the office of county supervisor.
Yeah.
And staggered terms.
Right.
But why are we talking about staggered terms? Because that's not part of the,
Only to be very clear about what becoming a self-organized county does or allows the county to
so
do.
we're not saying we're promoting the idea
No,
of
no, it's just
staggered terms.
available.
It's just because doing this would make us eligible to put forward staggered terms.
So that people can look at the resolution, the ordinance on paper.
Okay.
and
If
see
the
everything.
board chooses or whatever, legislation chooses.
We'll have Tori go through this before. Should we want to
Can we
hear what
still
we
vote?
think? No, we should clarify what
language.
this language, so we know what you guys want.
Those are the language.
So,
Do you
after
want me to probably
line,
get my computer, and once we get language, I can type it right away?
well, no, let's just let them hear it. So after line 13, which basically says, well, it starts at 11, whereas 5910 with stats provides that Winnebago County may become self-organized by adopting an ordinance electing to be self-organized or to become self-organized and filing a certified copy of the ordinance with the Secretary of State. And go ahead, whereas
Whereas a county which is elected to become self-organized may adopt its own policies, including compensation, filling vacancies, and staggered terms with a separate resolution.
Love
Yeah.
it. I love that.
Yeah,
did you get that? You have it all set.
That is perfect.
we say, and
May,
including and limited to,
Including and limited to?
just to be very clear, like this is the closed bracket, this is
Oh.
it.
How do we know?
Well,
There is
but
limits on it.
limited,
Well, you're
when you say limited to, it might suggest you can only do,
What about
Oh.
policies
Compensa-
regarding compensation, filling vacancies, and staggered terms?
Is there another term that's inclusive like that? Otherwise, it's fine.
yeah, just leave it, and then, you know,
My
that's what
notes
the
are-
discussion will be, I
The
mean,
county which is elected
with our
to
meeting.
become self-organized.
Yeah, no, you're right, you're right.
so a county which has elected to become self-organized may adopt its own policies, including Oh, you're saying unlimited to compensation, filling vacancies and staggered terms.
So it's like.
Yeah, you can only have these
those
three areas.
You know, yeah,
We're still
With
gonna have to explain that
separate
at the
resolutions.
With separate-
yes,
yeah.
yes.
What about just its own policies limited to including?
You don't need including, you're right.
Just
With
say
its own-
limited to compensation, filling vacancies
beginning.
and
It's
staggered
limited
terms.
to, yeah,
With separate resolutions.
separate.
Yeah.
resolutions.
I have that down here.
So take out,
That's
is
perfect.
including okay to take that out?
Limited to, I like that.
Do we add filling vacancies process or fill it?
Keep it simple.
Filling
I know,
vacancies.
but it's
Well,
important
it's
to have.
county board supervisor vacancies. Filling,
Yeah,
Yeah, I
county
just
board-
think it's good to, that somebody reading that would understand as much as possible in the
put
limited,
down filling county board supervisor vacancies. Is that better?
yeah.
well, I see what you're, yeah,
Yeah.
Because that could suggest, oh, we'll fill the county clerk.
yeah, I agree, thank you.
Filling county board.
That just clears it up.
Yeah.
The words of the
Like
county may
parity.
adopt its own procedures in terms of filling vacancies. They may choose to continue with using the board chairman. correct?
Absolutely. This is
Yeah.
all about flexibility.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
One last question again. This would have nothing to do with changing the size of the board or
No,
any of the committees?
No.
Any commissions, nothing,
No.
that wouldn't
Not
affect any of that, right? So it doesn't help it or hurt like this,
no.
Not our circus, not our monkey.
huh?
Yeah.
Where did I just, what's that one? 21 now.
Now. Oh, yes.
Is any of the stuff that we're doing? No, never mind. It's not appropriate to bring that up now. Forget that. I'll ask later.
Now, the other piece, again, some counties have elected to do this, others haven't. In the county code, and as you all know, we're going through a recodification. Under chapter 1 in the county code, it addresses general government. Under chapter 2, it's the governing body. And under general government, it talks about general provisions as to officials, which is, you can't accept gifts more than $25. And then under chapter 1, there's boards and commissions, and it talks about the per diems. Do you want to create a subsection in the actual code that says Winnebago County is self-organized?
What's your
I mean, you can think about it.
Yeah, for future,
Then you'll have, we certainly will have this, but I think best practice would suggest it should be reflected in the code.
so in other words, if this passes, then we.
Well, we
should
could
do
add
it.
another whereas to
Yeah.
say that it might be, so do you want it under general government or do you want it under the governing body? I'm thinking you'd probably want it under general government, because under the governing body, it talks about the 36 districts. It talks about nomination papers, the Veterans Service Commission, but under general government, it talks about the ethics, provisions as to officials, but then it also talks about boards and commissions. Ideally, it would be nice if even before general provisions as to officials, and unfortunately, that's listed as 1.01. Do you want to create 0.00? Winnebago County is a self-organized county.
Yeah, just right at the beginning,
The first thing.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Do you want me to prepare?
And then you said that
I
52 counties out of how many? 70?
think I said 52 out of 72 have opted to
52 out
go
of 72.
self-organized. Do you see? You might want to pass this around so people can see.
Yeah,
So you might want to put
like right above it.
0.0.
Mhm.
Even that. Can you pass it around so the rest of the numbers see it?
We don't have anything to tell us why the other ones haven't,
No.
or what their reasons
Maybe they have just not had enough time.
were. Or maybe they didn't know about it.
So that's 0.0, that's the first thing will be under chapter 1.
Yeah.
I just found out about this a few months ago.
Yeah, I never heard.
That's why I wanted
Yes,
that's why I proposed to have this, task force, that I found out about it. I'm like, well, we can't do
Mhm.
anything unless we do
Mhm.
this because we're just.
Yeah.
doing
Right.
crazy.
So if your committee opted to do that, then what we would do is we would change it in the wherefore, I mean, now therefore. I don't care about the whereas, now therefore is the legal piece. So we would also add something to the effect of, and, be it further ordained, 0.0 of the general code is created, which will say that Winnebago County is a self-organized county, something to
Is
that
that
effect.
a legitimate number? Should we name something 0.00? I'm just asking, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just a placeholder.
Okay.
Yeah, I just would think it might make sense before we start talking about provisions as to officials, the type of government Winnebago County is.
Yeah, right off the bat, let's see who we are. With this. So when this is being presented, you're gonna be the one that's gonna answer questions, and then
Hopefully I'll be able to answer them.
then we need to be answer questions, so it's
Yeah.
gonna be.
Yeah, because I would assume the board would want to know the thought process behind all of the individual members. So, yeah, I mean, I'll be the target, but you're gonna be in the audience and you can,
Yes.
Okay.
you can certainly, if I miss something, say, oh, by the way, Chair Egan, raise your hand, somebody can say. But then you're gonna also need to have someone move to put it in order, so, and I know this is going to judiciary.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming Chairman Wise would probably move to have it brought to the floor.
This is going to GPS first.
Yeah, it's gonna do a presentation first, but then we go to GPS and then we go to the county board. It always starts with the presentation.
Well, actually,
Right, no, I thought we
This
were going straight to the county board.
no, we're gonna go to JPS because it's a rule. So it's essential, especially if you're changing an ordinance.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and my understanding is it's actually going to be addressed a week from today
Yes.
at JPS. So that if the board wants, we can take it up in May, whatever it is, 16th, 17th, whenever the meeting is.
Okay, they hate the county board of the special board. Yeah.
Fifth or
And then
fifth.
we vote on it.
I think the 8th was special.
I don't know, I think has the agenda already gone out for the special?
Tomorrow the agenda goes out, that's.
So then,
Yeah, that would be today. JPS, I knows about it.
We can do the presentation to the county board.
do we
Next
need a
Tuesday.
presentation or can we just say, this is what we're presenting, and Attorney Miller, what can you tell us about it? I mean, does the task force think we need to have a separate meeting? It's not terribly
You
complicated.
think on May 1st meeting?
Well, I mean, I don't know if Chairman Egan's gonna allow this on the May 2nd agenda, because it has to
Said he
go.
would last time.
Well, he did.
He's going to-
I don't even, okay.
He basically was agreed to allow this on, that's why we met today, so that he could put it on the agenda tomorrow.
Today.
And then we go to first,
Oh.
public safety and jurisdiction. And then
Maybe
we take-
Because he was gonna come here today, but he said he needed the most grass, and he said, do you think I need to be there? And I'm like, no.
He should just do no Monet.
No moment?
Well, although it's not yet May.
It's not.
We've been out there.
We can vote on it.
I don't wanna look like my neighbors.
Okay. Where do we stand
Okay.
now?
We digress.
So my understanding is that this was going to be addressed at JPS on May 1st.
Right.
And the agenda is about to go out today for JPS.
Yes.
And
I
then
think
you're
mine is
telling,
good.
and you think Supervisor Chairman Egan is gonna put it on for special orders on May 2nd.
He is.
Is it?
And who is gonna give the presentation? I'm giving the presentation?
Okay.
I don't think so.
Did you just nominate yourself?
I'm sorry.
You rock.
We'll be there.
Well, but,
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
I think Chairman Wise should introduce the topic
Yes.
Yeah,
and, stand up at the podium and say, this is what we considered, and then
yeah.
that you give the
I have no problem with.
technical
If some
explanation.
people wanna be up there with me and you introduce it and you're there and then I'll say, and this is what self-organization does. I mean, it should take 5 minutes. And as soon as I say that, it's the kiss of death.
Yeah,
There's
all
right behind you, you need to knock it.
I understand that.
With your head.
Our whole body is over like, oh. Pull out my convertible to where we see.
So where are we standing on voting right now?
right, why don't we have Tori why don't you go through that one more time so the task force knows what they're voting on?
We just amended here and then.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the third whereas will say, whereas a county which has elected to become self-organized may adopt its own policies limited to compensation, filling county board of supervisors vacancies and staggered terms with separate resolutions. And then there's gonna be a number 2, be it further ordained. 0.00 of the general code is created to say Winnebago County is a self-organized county.
Move to approve that.
Second,
Any other questions, comments, desires? All in favor, say aye. Thank you.
Now we just gotta get that to the 2 other committees.
Yeah,
So
so
that they think we get a
KPS.
Now, who is going to JPS?
What do you mean there? You're KPS.
No, I'm not JPS.
When is
But
that?
it's next Monday.
Monday,
I'll go.
6 P.M.
It would be great if
Six?
you,
I could go
you
too.
folks could be there.
It'd be nice to have a few of us there.
Yes.
Yeah.
I probably didn't go to it. Okay,
It's
great.
the sheriff's office.
Yeah, no.
I was there for that, we'll get for the other committees.
Where do they meet?
That took us forever.
sheriff's office.
We got it.
Sheriff's office is 6 next Monday.
Yeah.
You're on GPS, correct?
No.
I thought you were on GPS. No. Jacob, Eisen, Stephanie,
Hanson,
Stanford, Hanson.
Ralph, I think you're going to,
What?
you're gonna try and make that?
Yeah, I just got the human services just before that, so I'll try to make it after that.
Okay,
Not too long.
thank you.
So is everybody showing, not that I'm putting you on the spot, but Supervisor Sarah, Supervisor Powers, Supervisor Steph?
Glad to be there, yeah.
Oh, okay, everybody, oh, good.
And then we're just gonna jump in. We don't know what she's talking about.
What? What is she
What?
talking
That's the
about?
first time we heard it.
What planet does she live on?
Yeah.
Is she from the East Coast?
Okay,
Sorry, I'm just messing with you, Mary.
you've done that. Okay, passed out, did everybody get these 2 documents? Just, we're going through these today, yes. The documents.
Reserves Esther with, needs copies.
I have,
I'll be, pretty big one.
We're not considering this today, so.
I ate before we
This
came.
is just for your enjoyment. You can read it and to the next meeting in May. Speaking of the next meeting, petition for items. Take one and pass it.
do you need us to stay or are we all set now?
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll see you next Monday night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Yeah.
Anytime.
All the work.
Julie,
that
you're
you guys
okay?
did for this.
Okay, I have a question that, the question I didn't ask before.
You always ask.
Okay, is anything that we're doing today in terms of working on compensations of, is there any way that this will help to impact looking at compensation for places like our nurses at Parkview?
No, this has to do with this.
I know this does, but is it a stepping stone towards other compensation?
I'm not in finance, but as far as I'm concerned, I think it's apples and oranges.
Okay,
Nothing to do with that.
Just wondered.
You're on Parkview, right?
Yeah, this should not have anything.
You actually are getting some people in the training center now, so that's a step.
Oh, that's
in the right
good.
direction.
Yeah. All right.
You know, I think you got 4 now and 6 in June.
Yeah.
So,
My daughter.
but unfortunately, the residents went down from 99 to 98.
Oh.
It's going down.
It's
I'm just looking to get over 100. I mean, when I got on personnel finance, we had 126. And we actually gave the CNAs and hospitality aides $1 an hour raise, and all that managed to do,
That
basically,
was her thing.
we lost more. And we went down to 98 residents. So I don't know what the answer is. It's hard to get people. 165. So we have 67 beds sitting empty if we have no staff.
Okay, I've passed out a draft of the things that The only thing, the 6, 7, and 8 that I see that it might be in our wheelhouse, providing JPS approves this and the board approves it also. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye. The next meeting, if we do every 2 weeks, the next meeting would be the 8th. We could even do it on the 15th. We are 3 months from the drop dead date here, from July 24th now, so. I think a lot is going to depend on these JPS meeting, and then the board meeting too. So if that goes sour on us, I hope it doesn't, then we go to April. So we can what things we can do for April after the new annual meeting. So anyway, these 3 things in no particular order. Discuss the salary. Okay, this will be the May,
Okay,
May meeting.
And this would be, wait, when is the vote for, the special meetings?
It'll be the 4th, isn't it? The 4th Tuesday.
Yeah, they won't want us to pressure me, we just do the presentation, oh, no, that's a third Tuesday,
Third Tuesday.
The 16th.
16.
May.
Just, Jim, the 15th is a county board tour.
Really?
Yeah.
Yay! Is it?
No, it's not.
Okay, so
We'll all get together on the bus.
yeah, right, yeah. Call over.
Really, we should meet after we know we can self-organize.
I think that's probably a good idea. Yeah, so that would be the 22nd.
Yeah. Unless we
22nd.
want to do it that week.
What's your guys' schedule? I'm retired, so I can, although if I'm not here for one of these meetings. I can do it.
Move my daughter out the 19th, but other than that, I could do the 17th or 18th. I mean, we're at time crunch, but then I want to make sure that your schedule's okay too. You're the big one.
The noon meetings were,
I could do the 17th.
know. What day of the week?
May 17th.
17th
Wednesday.
is the Wednesday.
Yeah, I can do that.
I was just thinking, we need, like, as soon as if we get it or not, we really need to, so that will answer so much more.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
I mean, we still have to get that section though, passed too, you know,
Section.
but we need to like work on that.
So you're saying we're having another ad hoc meeting on the 7th, we're meeting on the 8th,
No, not on the
and
'eighth.
then, oh, we're not meeting on the
No,
8th.
no,
Oh, I had-
there's nothing to discuss yet.
So we're moving it to Wednesday the 17th.
17th, it's a Wednesday.
Are we all good?
Everybody good on that?
17th,
Okay. So then things to discuss. I have the number 6, 7, and 8 on the thing that was draft on it like this. Discuss salary or salary plus per diem structure. So number 6, number 7, committee chair compensation changes. That may be out of our wheelhouse. And prospects, number 8 is prospects of paying full per diem for Zoom meetings.
I know something that we need to put before 6,
Okay,
and we need to put on there, we have to draft a resolution immediately if this gets passed to even be able to do salary. Because once again, just because
Oh,
this
yeah,
gets
sure.
passed,
yes, yeah,
we can't move forward with doing salary unless we get that other resolution
Yeah.
passed.
Can I suggest that we just do it like we did with this one, where if it comes out of 6, that we want to do a salary, that we just direct corporation counsel to draft that? And that way we don't have to presume that we're going to draft it.
okay.
I don't know,
So you're going,
Tie
Like
that
we-
to 6.
like it's not a voting item, right? So it doesn't
we
need to
would
be
have to
on the
vote for it
agenda.
first. Put it
Then we're
to
off.
discussion
Yeah.
and vote on that, whether, are you talking just straight salary or salary plus per diem? or-
Either
But
way,
just
I
to
mean, I'm
be
saying,
able to, like, with this resolution, you know,
Yeah.
to be able to just enact that section, right? That's all we want,
Discuss
Or-
and take action, discuss and,
Okay,
you know.
because we've
Maybe-
gotta have that. That's why we're doing all this.
we could also just ask corporation counsel to draft it, but if the board approves.
I wish that we.
Yeah, let's.
With doing the self-organization, but that's just,
Oh,
I think that might blow too many minds at our county board. I don't know. Do you see my
I see what
point?
you're saying. I think we could just say like, hey, just for clarity, we are intending to bring this back
this section, just
This.
A.
Yeah. So, but I'm saying, we can just say right now, we'd like the chairman to write a letter to this task force would like the chairman to write a letter to the corporation council asking for that draft. So that it can go, so we don't have to delay, we could have it on that May, what do we say, 17th?
Yes, 17. Agreed.
I 100% agree, because
Right.
So
I
it's a
wish
draft.
I'm almost to the point where it's like, why don't we just get this crap all done with the self-organizing, resolution? But is that too much,
That
too
is,
fast?
that is too much.
Yeah, they're big decisions.
Yeah, that's too much.
Yeah, too
Let's get that self-organized,
Yeah.
because otherwise it's April. So.
Cause you know what's gonna happen, we're gonna have to re-explain all this again at the next meeting.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, just keep it clean for next meeting.
Unless, when we're presenting this or having discussions, we need to bring up, say, no, our only intention is to do A, and we will be bringing this right back to you if you pass this, just so you know, keep it in the back of your head. We don't care about the other stuff. It is not in our wheelhouse. We're just focusing on A,
But then,
just so they know and they get
Salary,
that we are bringing that section back to them.
so we need a draft.
Does that make sense?
yeah, it does. I just, all I'm thinking about is I can just see the public and everyone saying we passed the resolution, not sure what it was about, did this, and all of a sudden right after talking about pay. You guys are just doing it to change your pays.
That's
You
exactly
know, that's
what
what,
we're doing.
but that, I mean, that's what the public is gonna say.
Yeah, and that's
You know,
fine.
We don't have, but I'm just saying,
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
and I'll show them the figures, why we're doing this,
the
that.
people, I mean, just say people are, you just gave everybody an employee a lot of money,
We're
now you're
assuming
spending money.
everybody's gonna think it's negative, which I don't think it is a negative. I think it's actually going to be a cost saver for the overall general, or at the same, but a more efficient way to do it.
I'm just saying what the people are thinking, or, we gotta
Absolutely.
be able to combat that, because otherwise. We're gonna
She
take
says
a
she's
ride.
prepared.
Okay,
I,
okay,
having all this stuff.
Yeah.
Is helping a lot, so I think I'm
Okay.
assuming you're all this.
We put that together all year long, so Nan
Yeah.
finished it for me on Friday, and then I just printed it out.
Thank you for kind of bringing it to us,
That's
I
okay.
do appreciate it.
Mhm.
So it's a proposal, it's going to be a proposal. It's draft, Marianne,
If.
on salary.
Mhm.
Yes.
This is the we sort of were batting around before the meeting actually started about how because we're talking about what we're doing in terms of possibly salary and per diems. What are we doing about citizen members? Or do we that if we're changing all the per diems, what happens to the citizen members of committees?
Yeah, that'll be, if we get self-organized, we may still be able to do that, or we may look at a policy change, because the only reason why I voted to have all citizens paid is because I found out that some are getting paid and some weren't.
Yeah,
I was not for any citizens to get paid for any of these committees. That was just my opinion. I don't know if everybody agrees with me, you may not, I don't know, but I don't think anyone should. So the only reason why I did is because I found out that people weren't. So, that's kind of, would that be us or would that be committee structure? Or, I don't know.
So I brought it
We're
through
making recommendation.
public safety jurisdiction, I wrote the resolution, or had her hand right for me.
And I agree with it.
Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing. I mean, when somebody cannot be paid for something and somebody gets it, that is not right on any level.
Yeah.
Would that be our jurisdiction?
I don't know, because you're taking money away from all these committee members, citizen committee
It's-
members. They look at it and
That's
say,
the only ones that are, I mean, I've been on committees as citizen on so many different municipalities, never been paid.
yeah.
That is not the norm. It is not the norm.
No, it isn't.
It
All of-
really is not. I don't know of anyone else who does that. And it's probably pretty costly. I wouldn't mind seeing those numbers too.
So I would suggest that if, like, pick your path that we go down, but there is still a way for us to make a recommendation about the way the board members, our county board members, county board supervisors, I should say, are compensated, whether it's salary plus per diems, only per diems, but not affect that citizen.
Yeah, we have to do it because they're gonna be staggered too.
Yes.
Those are not
Yeah.
just 2-year terms, they end on this day and so forth. Those are staggered, correct? So that's something that if we need to deal with later, that's something we can't do with that with. I mean, that's gotta be out of it. Unfortunately, we just have to continue what we're doing. I mean, I don't know another way. Do you know, Karen?
No, but I don't think it's a good idea to decide that we're gonna, just because it doesn't seem normal in municipalities that you're familiar with.
That
we should just say-
and I'm sorry.
Yeah, then we should just say, we're gonna stop paying citizens.
No, I don't,
Okay.
yeah, I voted for it.
Okay.
I'm not,
Okay.
that's not in this wheelhouse at all, again. So that was just an opinion that I brought out, but.
Okay.
I think it's kind of like we did a wage study for the employees. We never did a wage study for the county board. This was what that sheet is. It's showing you what the 17 counties that have citizens about the same as our county, what they're getting paid. I don't think Tom Egan should get $5,000 and the county supervisor or chairman for the county of Algoma gets 14,000. Why would you want, it's a lot of work, you know, and you can take advantage of people and they'll give you 10 hours a month. They're not gonna give you 30. That's why nobody runs for these jobs. You know what I mean? I basically, the first election I had to run against the person that was in the seat. I never had anybody run against me since. Nobody wants these jobs. You know, if they want a part-time job, they're gonna get a part-time job that they get paid for. You know, I don't mind giving something to the county. I give a lot of meetings back to the county. I don't take credit for it. But you shouldn't feel like you're getting taken advantage of. You know, it's like when we got put on this committee, I knew I got too many committees for the year. I'm donating my time because I won't have enough open slots to claim everything that you know, and if you look, some of them are 10 meetings over and they got 25 unauthorized meetings. So they took 25 meetings that they weren't assigned to. You know, we're trying to clear that up, that if you're not on that committee, you're not, you ask the chairman if you can attend it, and he says, yes, you can attend it, and you know, then you can take the pay for it. But you really shouldn't, every time you attend a meeting, you should get paid for it. You have no business other than being interested in it. And I listened to every one of the Parkview meetings. I listened to the facilities. I've never taken a pay for any of them. But it's just my standard. If I'm not on that committee and if it's not posted, I do a lot for the UW Fox Cities. And because it's not posted, like I was at the ribbon cutting, I was at, you know, they had little meetings where we met with Outagamie County for the MOU. I didn't take any of those. It wasn't posted. There's no way of verifying I was there or I wasn't there. Right. And I think that's what we're trying to clear up. We're trying to get, so these are the meetings you can take. And if there's no rules and regulations telling you that you can't take a meeting, you can take whatever meeting you want until you hit 60. And the state says that's all you're supposed to be paid for, but we pay you for whatever you take. So like the ones that are over by 10 meetings, they're going to get paid for it. We paid them $500, even though the state statute says no.
I'm just surprised now it's the only time it's coming up. What about the years past? No one ever talked about stuff like this? Then
2 years ago, we changed the per diem and there was no wage
No.
study whatsoever done. It hasn't been done in 10 years. So we're going to give the county supervisors a raise. We've never had a wage study like this where we actually compared the counties.
Yeah.
Here we have a wage study.
Me, chairman.
Yeah.
And I'm not running, so it's not going to benefit me at all.
Yeah.
I didn't know about this until the chairman told me about it. I was surprised. So anyway,
Next meeting is the 17th.
move to adjourn?
That would probably be the next thing, yes. You know, second, all in favor? No discussion. Stay back.
Are we off there?
No, yeah.
Okay, are we?
Hold on just a
Okay.
second.